Okay. Oh. So, every summer I work for this guy named Patrick on a farm outside Campbell River. Patrick goes up to his friend one day and he's like, "Do you like whiskey?" And his friend's a 6.5-foot tall Dutchman. He goes, "Oh yeah, I do." So, right then, with that, they take that idea and they run with it. And they decide to build a distillery. And as simple as that, they've got the expertise, they've got decades of farming background behind them, and they've got the willpower. The distillery is on what's colloquially known as the old UBC farm. It's about 1,000 acres just outside Campbell River, right on the waterfront. There's woodlands, there's dozens of acres of raspberries that they grow, there's hundreds of acres of barley for the alcohol. And but I'm not a farmer. I mean, the extent of my farming experience is what I've done in Minecraft. But I'm a farm hand. So Patrick's got me doing things from building fences to shoveling shit to driving tractors. But there's a whole array of stuff, and I honestly feel like I've learned more working for him than I would if I threw a dart at a trade school application or something. So one day he's got me on this little John Deere ride-on lawnmower, and he says, "Cut a path right between the barley and the tree line. Make it look nice. Define it." And I'm like, okay, I didn't realize crops were an art, but I'll do it. So I hop on this little John Deere lawnmower, and now I'm 2 feet down on the ground. And I start driving, and this is not something I should be mowing. It's dirt and bumps and lumps, and I'm 30 degrees sideways 1 second, and 30 degrees sideways another second. I think I'm going to fall off, and the thing's going to fall on me, and I'm going to break the blade on rocks all over the ground, and I'm concerned. Okay, I was. I reached this gap in the tree line. It's about 10 feet wide. There's some tall grass and a slope that reaches down to this kind of creek thing. It's about 10 feet deep and halfway full. And there's like a little island sort of thing with a tall tree on the side. It looks like a deserted island in the middle of the ocean. I didn't really know what it was doing there. But I thought the spot looked nice, so I kind of cut a little circle with my lawnmower and a landing pad, if you will. And I backed around, and the sun's coming down on my back, and the lawnmower's running out of gas, and I'm worried about chipping up the blade anymore, so I call her a day. I head to the little dirt road that kind of goes around the whole farm. And there's my boss, and he says, "How far did you make it?" And I point to the spot where I made it, and he says, "That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted." I'm like, okay, phew! And so the next morning I get to work, and I'm walking on the little dirt road again. And Patrick drives up in his Jeep. He presses the little button on his side to roll down the passenger side window, and he looks out and he's like, "Get in." I'm like, oh God, I thought I broke the blade or the lawnmower's toast or what. And this wasn't too strange. Patrick's got no sons. He's got 5 beautiful, gorgeous daughters. Please don't tell me he said that. Yeah. And he knows my father passed away when I was 12, so he kind of acts as a father figure to me quite often. So it wasn't too strange for him to kind of just say, hop in. But what was strange was we were leaving the farm, and we started driving on the highway, and we started to keep going, and he's talking about the mail he got, what's on the radio, how's my girlfriend doing, and I don't know what's going on. And we drive like that for about 10 minutes until we reach a gas station. I'm like, oh, of course! Gotta get gas for the lawnmower. So we pull 2 jerry cans out of the back of the Jeep and fill them up, and I thought we were going to go into the little gas station store to pay for the gas. But when I opened up the door, it was a diner. So I got no idea what's going on anymore. Patrick hops in the booth like he knows what he's doing, and the waitress comes along and brings him a coffee and a newspaper. And I just sit down and, okay. And he starts flipping through his newspaper, and he's looking for something. And he's like flipping furiously, and I say, "What are you looking for?" He goes, "I'm looking for page 13. And I say, okay, and eventually stops looking for page 13, he can't seem to find it, so I take the paper from him and I look through, and sure enough, no page 13. Okay, so forget page 13. Waitress comes back, asks for an order. I get this big breakfast, the biggest breakfast I could. The guy said he'd pay for me, so I'm gonna mooch him, right? And so we start talking about writing and how words can evoke senses and emotions and smell and sight and sound. And we talk about that for a while, and of course I agree. And eventually the waitress comes back with our food, and Patrick points to my breakfast, and he goes, "Why'd you get that one?" And I say, "Because it sounded good." And I realize I've just walked into exactly what he wanted me to say. So we have a good laugh, and then we head back to the distillery, or to the farm, sorry. Same difference there, really. We hop in the mule, and the mule is like, it looks like a golf, I don't know if you guys, like a Kawasaki, it looks like a golf cart with a truck bed and an engine of an ATV. Okay, so we hop in this thing, and he says, show me what you cut. And I say, okay, and I kind of point to the little path that I've dug, and it's only about as wide as the lawnmower was, and I mean, the mule's not much wider anyways, but Patrick just decides to fucking floor it. And now we're driving fast, okay, we're booking it, and we're taking corners, and we're like 2 wheels here, okay, and we got branches coming out here, and I'm start screaming, and he's just like holding onto the wheel with one hand, and he's like, ah! And I'm like, drive, man, look at the road! And branches hit the windshield, I'm scared, you know, I'm holding onto the little roll cage, okay? But I'm alive, so you guys know I reached the clearing. So we get out of the mule, and he points to the creek, and he says, what's that? And I say, Patrick, that's a creek. And he goes, no, that's the water table. We get back in the mule, and he turns to me again, and he goes, do you like turtles? And I'm like, yeah, I guess they're cool. And he goes, do you know we have turtles in BC? And I say, okay. And then he goes, do you know we have turtles, you know, that are native here in Vancouver Island? And now I think that's kind of cool. Okay, I didn't know that we had turtles right here in our backyard. I don't know if you guys knew that. Painted turtles. It's interesting. It is, trust me. But he points over at the creek, and we start driving again. And now we're not going back the way we came, but we're going deeper into the woods. We're driving over stumps, more, you know, bumps of dirt and earth, and we're on 2 wheels again and getting stuck, and we gotta rock ourselves out of the situation. But we get kind of this other side of the creek, and I can see like the ending of it and the tree over there, and then I see the swampland that I recognize as like a marshland kind of thing, and then more field, and then the ocean. And he points at the creek, and he says, "The deer love this." He says, "This is like become a habitat," and I know this because I've seen like 30+ deer around this area every time I come around, and you know the bears love it too, and you know the birds, and he points to the marsh, and he's like, "Frogs love that, the turtles love that," and then he tells me that he's dug this creek, and that he's going to keep digging all the way to the ocean. And I'm telling me he's fucking insane. But I think about it for a second, and I know the guy, and this is the guy that ran with the idea of building a distillery. Why wouldn't he run with the idea of building a river? So I believe him in this kind of off sort of way, and I say, "That's a cool idea, Patrick, who have you told?" And he goes, "Nobody." And I say, "Okay, why not?" And he says, "Think of it this way. When you roll into Tim Hortons, you pay for the person behind you. They don't know who you are, but you just made their day. You know, you made that kind of tiny sliver, that tiny moment, a better place in the world." And I said, "That's really cool, Patrick. That's really nice." And I really think that one day I'm going to see Patrick on page 13.